Hey guys, welcome to the Health Babe podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Becky Campbell with Dr. Krystal Hohn. Today we're
Hello.
talking about functional medicine and how you can do it at home. And we are super excited about this episode because we have been working our butts off on trying to figure out how to really get people to figure out what's going on with them and not have to go to a practitioner for it. And that is not an easy task, but we have done
Not. It's a whole heck of a lot of work, that's for sure. But
yeah, it's been like a year in the making, right?
it really has. I mean, all the information, all the experience we have with patients, we have poured into these programs. So it's awesome. We're really excited to talk about it and dive in.
So, one thing I think we should start with is what is root cause medicine? Because that's kind of the big buzzword is getting to the root cause. You hear it all the time. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you listen to other podcasts about functional medicine and about getting to your root cause, but what does that actually mean? So what that means when I hear that and when I say that, what I'm referring to is every symptom that you have, there is a reason for it. And sometimes, and a lot of times up until the past, I don't know, maybe decade, there was no looking for why, really. It was more like putting a label on it, and this is what you have, and this is what you're going to take. So, which is like a Band-Aid approach. So, this is where functional medicine really started to grow. And the point of functional medicine is getting to the root cause of your symptoms, of your diagnosis, whatever you want to call it. You may not have a diagnosis, but you may have a list of symptoms. So, what we're really trying to teach people is that there is a reason. And if you can figure out the reason, then you can typically get the issue to resolve. So that is what's amazing about it. And then you're not stuck on these medications most of the time. And we're not saying that medications are bad. There's definitely a place for medication. The problem is that they're overprescribed without, really trying to figure out why people are feeling the way that they're feeling. And so many people are feeling like crap, right?
Yeah. And wouldn't you say back to we're just with functional medicine and conventional medicine too, we're just trained in different areas, wouldn't you say, as far as the different testing and the approaches. And with us working with patients for so many years, it's really about coming together too and providing the best care for patients. So the reason why we created these programs was to focus more on that root drive approach, right? The root cause approach. And functional testing really does that. So if you can get a good look at how your body is functioning and really peeling back those layers, you can see, okay, this is the driving force of why I'm having the symptoms. So we don't have to continue masking it with medications, right? So
yeah, and it's kind of like let's say you have an issue, like a GI issue, right? And you're bloated and you're constipated. Well, the conventional medical world is going to give you maybe a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Or they're going to put you like on a proton pump inhibitor. And that's going to probably be the extent of what is going to happen with that, visit. Whereas we are going to look at a stool test and not just, a regular old stool test like everyone used to use. We're always staying up to date with the latest testing. Yeah. And thorough and looking to see what is driving that. What do you have going on in the gut that's making you bloated and constipated? And instead of putting you on Metamucil, what can we do to get to the reason that that's happening?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference.
Yeah. And I do find too, we find this, a lot of patients that come to us over the years, they're on so many different supplements because they're researching and they're like, well, I'm bloated, so I may have candida, or I may have SIBO or H. pylori, parasites, right? And they're just getting on all this support without really knowing what's driving it. And this is why the specific testing is important, so that you know specifically what you need to be supporting instead of blindly supplementing and taking all these supplements without knowing what is actually going on within the body, right? And so the stool testing we're talking about looks at a lot of these pathogens. It's testing you to see, if you have H. pylori, if you're dealing with any candida, if you're dealing with parasites or opportunistic bacteria, are you struggling with leaky gut? How is your intestinal health doing, right? So it's about figuring out, what is going on within the gut instead of blindly supplementing and doing all these things when it can drive you crazy. It really can, because there's so much information overload. And, there's answers to that. You can get answers to that so that you know how to best support your body.
Right. Because how many people do we see that think they have candida?
Candida, and they don't.
Everyone thinks they have candida, right? So then they're doing all these anti-yeast supplements and they're not feeling better.
On anti-candida diets, which are so restrictive, and they're not doing crap for them. So
and it's understandable, because you read an article, you go, wow, that sounds like me. Oh, this is what they're saying I should do. I'm going to do this. And it's completely understandable, because you're not getting answers anywhere else. Right. But the problem is that a lot of things in the gut can have overlapping symptoms. So, there are certain things you can do that can work on everything, target, but then there's other things you need to add to target, whether it's H. pylori or parasites or yeast. And those are not things that you need to do if you don't have those issues.
Exactly.
So this is what we find. We find a lot of people coming to us, they have cabinets full of supplements. They've tried everything. They've, every single protocol that they've seen online, they thought it applied to them. They started taking the supplements. Maybe they felt a little bit better, but not typically. It wasn't like really causing them to completely get better. And they just don't know where to go. Right. And when, then people start hearing about functional medicine, because it is really growing, and they go, okay, so there's this thing called functional medicine that they're going to help me find out why I feel the way I do. Now, who do I go to? And we hear this all the time. I don't know anyone near me. Do you know anyone in Texas? Do you know anyone in wherever? And this is why we're virtual. I mean, we work with people all over the world. We work with people in Australia, New Zealand, everywhere, but still sometimes that's not it's not doable for everybody, right? Because insurance isn't going to cover it. And people they're like, okay, I finally found the way, but I can't go that route because it is expensive.
Yep.
So then what? Then what do I do? So we have run into this over the years, and we feel so bad. We want to help people, and we wish insurance would cover it, and they don't. And people say, do you take insurance? And it's like, no, it's not that we don't take insurance. It's that insurance isn't going to pay me to talk to you for 45 minutes.
Right. Or longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Or these tests, because they're not a standard, simple blood panel that is, a couple of really not specific markers.
Exactly. And so that's why we wanted to make something more accessible for everybody, right? If you still want to work one-on-one with someone, that's great. You definitely can. We're not saying that you don't need a doctor or that's not necessary, but we wanted to create something to make it more accessible. And the way I really have found too, with working with patients throughout the years, most people, when they want to get healthy, they're very self-motivated. Wouldn't you say, Beck?
Yeah. By the time they come to us, especially, they are extremely self-motivated, which is why they're so compliant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're ready. They're ready to feel better. They want to understand what's going on within their body. And this is what we teach you. This is what we teach you in the programs that we created. And we're pumped about it because it's good.
Because we want it. We literally, so we keep saying programs. So what we're talking about is we've created a few different programs to basically walk you through step-by-step how to do functional medicine at home without working one-on-one with someone. So without the cost of working one-on-one with someone. And we literally, this is why it's taken us a year to develop this, because we wanted to get through every single step of the process that we would do if we were working with you, and record it on a video and talk to you directly. And we make different options for, this is what you're going to do if this is what your situation, this is what, all the different scenarios. And that was a lot of thought that we put into this. And so what we did, the first program we did is our core program. It's our just core functional medicine at home program. So what we've done with that program is teach you how to, which is what we do with all of our patients, get your body ready to get into handling any underlying cause. So let's say you have gut infections and we need to kill those. First, you need to get your body ready for that. So one reason that people don't do well when they do things on their own is because they don't prepare their body for it, which, the way you prepare your body for it is the proper diet, lifestyle changes, and working to support detox pathways so that when you're killing things, you can effectively push those out without making you feel worse. Because that's the reasons that people don't succeed on gut protocols, is because their body isn't ready for that.
Yes.
So we took this whole core program to teach you how to get ready for that, to know exactly what you should be eating, when you should be eating, like, is intermittent fasting right for you? Is it not? All those different things. And then how do you, gently detox your pathways, and why do you, and how long do you do that for?
Exactly.
And what else can be driving this? Because if you have a bunch of stuff that's not dealt with, let's say there's 5 things you have going on. Let's say you have an issue with, your sympathetic nervous system is on fire. So you're always in that fight or flight mode, and you have trauma from your past, and you're hypersensitive to every single supplement and every single food. You're never going to be able to go right into killing things in the gut ever. So that's why you have to go through this beginning process. And so that's what we did with the core program. We put it all together. Do this first, then you're going to do this, then you're going to do this, then you're going to do this. And then if you feel great at the end of that, which a lot of people do, by the way, you're good. You just maintain that. But if you're like, you know what, I feel so much better, but I know that there's more. I know I have a gut infection. I know I have hormone imbalance. Then you can go into our advanced testing programs, which are awesome because we literally, we have you order the test. We tell you exactly what test to order it, how to order it, where to order it, and then take your results. And we literally walk you through, looking at the screen, looking at a test, exactly what your test means and exactly what to do about it, because there's 20 different options depending on what your results say. So we had to make it to where we could get every different possible scenario to understanding what you're looking at and what it means and what you should do. And then we even took it a step further to go, if you're sensitive, do this. If you're not sensitive, do this. Like, we thought of everything. And especially with the Dutch test, that's the hormone, advanced testing hormone course. Krystal, she is the best at interpreting the Dutch test. And she went above and beyond. A male version, a female version, menstruating, not menstruating. I mean, she gives every option, every single scenario. Your estrogen's low with this high, this is low, this is high. You're both
what your
low,
pathways look like, all the things.
Everything. Yeah. So basically we wanted you to be able to hold your test and go, okay, I'm going to watch this. And they're saying that I have that. Yep, I have that. Okay, I have that. No, I don't have that. Okay, I have that. So according to what they're saying, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this is how long I'm going to do it for. And this is how I'm going to start it. And then this is how I'm going to end it. And this is what I'm going to do when I'm done with that. So we really wanted you guys to be able to feel like you were working with us without having to
work with us
expense of, because listen, it's great if you can, it really is. But for a lot of people, we truly do believe that they can do this on their own if they have the right guidance. And even with our patients, right, we want them to be able to do things on their own. We don't say, I'm going to talk to you twice a week. We try to set people up for success on their own. So this is what these programs do. And we're just super excited about it.
It is. So let's walk them through a little bit to understand where they should start with it, maybe if they're looking into maybe doing something like this. So again, just to reiterate, we have the core, right, which is a lot of the foundational things that Beck was just talking about. So supporting your gentle detox pathways, really working on trauma and stress, mitigating that, looking at your diet, seeing what foods are really good to, replenish your body, what foods we should, stay away from that are inflammatory, all of those types of things, right? That's within the core program. And really, we all should be doing that. So starting there. But then we break down stool testing, we break down hormone testing, and these are additional courses that you can get, but we created a bundle, guys. And the bundle is amazing because it includes the core, but it also includes breaking down the GI map, breaking down the Dutch test. So if you really want to dive into your hormones, dive into stool testing, and really start working on the drivers, right, of what's causing a lot of the symptoms, especially as you go through the core, the bundle is where you're going to get the most savings so that you can do everything together. And you want to add anything to that, Beck?
Well, I want to kind of walk people through like an understanding of drivers and how this would, so let's just use histamine intolerance because we know a lot of people listening have it. So when you have histamine intolerance, there are many different things, and you guys have probably heard me talk about the histamine bucket and the things that fill your histamine bucket. Well, those are all those drivers and underlying causes, the root cause, however you want to say it. So when you have things like gut infections, and specifically, there are bacteria that we can get in the gut that actually produce more histamine. And then having that bacteria in the gut also breaks down the enzyme, the DAO enzyme that helps us to break down histamine. So we're reducing our body's own ability to break down histamine. Plus, we're adding histamine to the body with the bacteria. And then let's look at the hormones. So then you have like estrogen dominance. Well, estrogen can bind to our histamine receptors and make us release a lot more histamine. So these are the reasons why you're reacting so much to histamine, because these different things that are underlying are making you release more histamine, and then you're eating high histamine food, and you're lacking your body's natural ability to break it down. So what we're trying to teach you is these are the foods you're going to eliminate for now. These are the foods you're going to focus on. Then you're going to look to see what kind of bacteria you have, if you have bad bacteria or not. Do you have yeast? Do you have parasites? Because they all affect this.
Right.
Do you have leaky gut? All of these things are going to drive histamine intolerance. And then what are your hormones doing? Do you have estrogen dominance? More so, not only do you have estrogen dominance, but why? That's the big thing. It's but why? And when you know the why, you know how to manage that issue. So then you can get through and go, okay, so these are the reasons I have this. I'm going to do what they said in this one, and I'm going to kill this bacteria. I'm going to support the estrogen. And then you see your symptoms dramatically improve. Right. And so that is the entire point of working through the core program, which is setting you up for success to being able to kill and, get rid of and push these things out of the body that are in excess, like estrogen, safely and without you feeling bad and all that stuff. And then the advanced testing courses are going to help you to find out what is driving it. So, and this is not just for histamine. This is not a histamine program. This is an everything program.
Right. Exactly.
This is thyroid issues. This is weight gain. This is insomnia. This is brain fog, achiness, everything. Like, people look at us and they go, oh, they do histamine. No, we don't. Histamine is one of the things we work on. We work on everything and anything. Every single thing you have going on has a reason. And this is what this course is for. These courses are for, is to help you find out, what do I have going on? Why do I have this going on? And then what do I do about it? And then the main question we get is, okay, so then can I just go back to, once I feel better, can I just go back to doing everything I was before? Well, it depends. I mean, were you eating fast food and not sleeping and not exercising and all? Then no, you can't. But it's about maintaining a lifestyle change. And the great thing is that you'll learn what works for you. And you'll learn what makes you feel well, what makes you doesn't, what foods your body likes and what foods your body doesn't like.
Yes.
So then you know how to maintain it.
Yeah, our whole goal for everybody is to have balance and live a healthy, to be able to eat nutrient dense foods without reacting, and just really live life with balance, right? You shouldn't be so restrictive, but there's definitely foods that are inflammatory that you want to continue to stay away from. So you have to keep all that in mind if you want to be healthy.
Yeah. And people always ask us, like, do you have to, for me, because I have mast cell activation syndrome, do you have to eat low histamine forever? Or can you work out, or can you? And what I always tell people is I live a very normal life.
Yep.
Compared especially to where I was at one point when I was living in mold and I literally thought that I was dying. I've identified my underlying trigger. I removed it from my body. I removed myself from the situation, and stress played also a very big role. I removed myself from that situation as well. And now I live a very normal life, but it doesn't mean that I eat all these inflammatory processed foods. I'll always eat really healthy, because I know that in general, you have to be healthy. You have to live a certain lifestyle. And then you're going to have things that come back up too. But the
way it is with life.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is that once you have the tools, you know how to identify it, and you know how to identify it and fix the issue. So even when we work with people one-on-one, we only see them like once a year because they know what to do.
It's true.
Oh, yeah. And some people will just do testing with us once a year, but even with the program, you can just go back in and do testing once a year
testing. Exactly.
and know what to do. So, okay. So if you go to our website, healthbabes.com, and then /courses, you will find our page that explains all this to you, and it leads you to all of our courses. So we have the core program, and then we have right now 2 advanced testing programs. That is our gut testing program and our hormone program. So it's basically showing you how to order the test, where to order it, getting your results, going through your test with our explanation of the results. And then we have an explanation of all of our protocols. And then we show you where to order the stuff that you need for the protocols. So what we're going to do for anyone who hears this podcast and they want to go ahead and order the programs, when you're checking out and it asks for a code, you can put in the code HealthBabes50 and you'll get $50 off of any program. If you order the bundle, you're going to get a really big savings, because the core program, there's the core program, then 2 advanced programs, and the bundle is all 3. So it's basically exactly what you would get if you were working with us, and you save hundreds of dollars. I mean, a lot, like $700 or something. It's like a huge savings. But you can even apply that HealthBabes50 code to that too. So, all right. So we've talked about the program. We've talked about functional medicine. We also love to hear from you guys. If you have any topics you want us to answer on the show, or questions you want us to answer on the show, we would love to hear from you. What's our email? Support, or is it support@healthbabes.com?
Contact
It's
at
not us. It's not. It's contact, right?
Yep, contact
at healthbabes.com. And we love to hear any feedback, or, hey, I'd love to hear you guys talk about this. Or just, can you answer this specific question for me? We love that. So contact at healthbabes.com for that. So, all right. What's going on in your world, Krystal?
Oh, man. Well, a lot.
I know, a lot.
I know. I just had track basketball games this weekend. My kids are very active in sports, so it's a blast. But Savannah just so Chris, my husband, and some of you met him through the podcast that I did last week with him a little bit, got to know him.
Adorable person.
I know, he really is. He's the
He
best.
really is. He's literally the real the guy you saw on that episode is really Chris.
He really is. But he ran track in college. And so Savannah just started running track, and she did the long jump and the 100. And it was just so fun seeing her in her element and those two work together. And
Savannah is a boss.
She
Savannah
really is
her daughter.
I want to be her when I grow up.
Me too. I always say I want to be Savannah when I grow up. She is a badass basketball player. Now she just decides to pick up track. She won, right? That video you sent me. She won.
She did. We had a pretty good life lesson with her, though. I was going to share that. I wanted to talk to you about this, but I'll save it for the podcast. But, it's just 6th grade. So they're just starting out and, getting to know all this. And the coaches just want them to have fun and everything. Right. So when she ran the 100, she was so pumped. This was her first track race. Right. Well, she won. But when they went and kept score, like, it put her in 4th place, even though she clearly won. So it was like a mistake. Right. And Savannah was like, no, it's fine. It's just 6th grade. It doesn't matter. Right. And I'm like, well, honey, it isn't fine. You won that. You need to go tell them it was a mistake, because me back in the day, right, would totally be just like her and be passive about it. It's like, oh, it's okay. It's, it's just and so she went to the coach and she was like, we have it. Like, I won that. And it just shows that this person, even the other coach clearly saw that she won it, right? And allowed their team to take 1st place, which is it's just not cool. It's not cool, right? Oh. So it was just a life lesson to stick up for yourself, to what you're worth, and to not be passive about things like that. Cause you can just take that into bigger things in life, right? So we had her go talk to the coach, which she didn't want to do. She was like, Mom, I'm like, listen, we have to do this for you, to teach you. Right. So she did. And the coach said to her, she was like, well, thank you so much. And I agree. And just made her feel seen and heard, which was good. I thought it was a good lesson.
That you didn't do it for her.
Oh yeah. No,
because so many parents are like, move over. Let me talk.
Oh yeah.
They'll run right in a rescue. And I read a book a long time ago called Conscious Parenting. Mm-hmm. And it was really good because it was, and some things I didn't agree with, but a lot of things I did. And it was like, you have to let your kids speak up for themselves. You have to let them navigate, disagreements with people and all that stuff. Because if you're always rushing in to rescue them, they're not going to learn to do anything. And then they're going to go to college and have no voice, That's
so true. Yeah. It was a good lesson. It really was. So she did, she went, she goes, I feel a lot better. I'm like, good. I'm like, you gotta stick up for yourself. If you don't, no one else will, and it's really it's working on that inner voice and confidence and all the things with life, so it was good.
True. It's true. And I have this going on with my oldest right now where, he's such a sweetheart. He's a very emotional kid, and he's very wants to be liked and wants to be, he doesn't want to make waves and all that type of stuff. And I remember kind of being like that too, being in certain situations where you're nervous or uncomfortable and you're hoping to just blend in, right?
Right.
Right. Yep. And that's kind of where he is. But we were talking about, kids just, because he's in middle school and kids are just so mean.
Oh, it's hard.
It is so hard. And, kids just saying awful things to him. And, as a parent, you want to go in and fight.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh, when I see that kid, I'm going to,
yes.
And I'm sure everyone listening knows exactly what we're talking about. And even if you don't have kids, just people, right? In your life, love, you want to run in and tell the other person off. But, and I'm really having to kind of coach him through how to navigate this on his own.
Yes.
It's very hard as a parent because you want to teach them the right thing, but you also kind of want to make them be really tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't I'm really nice, but I don't take anybody's crap.
No.
And I want that for them,
Mhm.
So what's happening right now is that there's kids that are, they're always just, they think it's funny, just to mess with you and make fun of you and get you to even like laugh at them making fun of you.
Ugh.
And I, what I've always taught them is to, you know, walk away. It's mostly like, just walk away, walk away. Well, now I'm like, okay, no, you're like, screw this.
You got to stick up. Yeah.
I'm like, you have to say something, and I'm not going to tell you what to say, because it needs to come from you and it needs to be you. But do not laugh at yourself with other people, because they're looking to see who they can do that to. They're looking to see who they feel is weak.
Yep.
And most popular kids are popular because their kids are afraid of them. Let's be honest. It's not because they're this great kid.
Yeah.
And so we're really having to navigate that, and it's really hard. And it's hard too when he's such a sweetheart and he doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But I'm like, you have to understand that you need to set boundaries. You're training other people how to treat you right now.
It's true. It's true. Yep.
So
I know these babies of ours.
I know. And then I have my middle Levi, who is the total opposite. I mean, he could come up with a witty thing to say back to you in 2 seconds.
I love
you don't stand a chance with him. And he's not mean, but he can outwit you in a second,
It's so funny how they all have different personalities. They come out who they are, and we just have to support them and love them and guide them as best as we can.
It's true. I actually just posted a picture of Levi in my Instagram story because he cracks me up.
Oh, the one where he was doing the selfie or something.
He does this thing where he sucks his cheeks in, and he like does this, like, if you can't see me right now, I'm doing a ridiculous face, but he's like,
it's like the duck face. It's just
like that.
A lot of kids do it.
Yeah, but it's like a little different. I've never seen the like cheek sucking, and it's like this whole, like the eyes, and he does it in the car all the time. And he just cracks me up, and I just laugh. And so then I was looking at camera roll, and I see all these pictures of him like that. And he's just born funny, like literally just born funny. So
yeah, I love it. I love it. I know life is busy right now. So many things we're juggling. Parenthood's hard, huh?
Yeah, it is interesting. It is.
Well, your haircut's cute, Beck.
Thanks. So if you guys if you're not watching this, I chopped my hair. I mean,
I love it.
Like 6 inches.
Yeah. It feels good though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nice and thick.
Yep.
I had to figure some things out, like, okay, so I normally use a 1.5 inch curling iron barrel. And I'm like, well, this doesn't work with this hair. So then I got a better one. But then I got one of those things that has like the 3 curling irons in one. Lynn, my best friend, her name is Lynn. She is from Staten Island. She is funny, as Italian as it gets, has the most amazing, funny Italian family. She's just the funniest person in the world. She can come up with something in a second that just makes you die laughing. So I sent her a picture, and I'm like, look at this curling iron. She's like, wow, that toy is intense. And I'm like, Lynn. And she's like, what? I want to know what you do with that thing. I'm like, it's for your hair.
But anyway, for your hair. We curl with this.
So I tried it today, and I looked ridiculous.
Really?
It was
I just needed a smaller one.
My hair's too short for it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't cute. So I don't recommend with short hair. I don't recommend that crazy tool.
Oh, I love it.
Looks good when you do it.
Yeah. Well, my hair's super long, so it's easy to, it gives it that crimpy look.
You have the best hair in the world. Like Krystal really has the nicest, just that naturally perfect hair.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My mom does hair, so it's always fun. I used to do so many different color treatments. And I remember back in 8th grade, I had the thick chunk blonde with the thick red with the thick black, like back in like the early 90s, the chunky highlights. She did it all to me. I was her like, what is it? Mannequin,
Guinea
right?
pig.
And then everybody would go to her to get the highlights in high school. And it was so fun. Now I'm just brown, easy.
Yeah. You look good like that though. You
Yeah.
do.
It just, I feel like the bleach can really get you, can it?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's funny that we're talking about bleach because people are probably like, why do you use bleach? You tell us, and this is like something really important.
Yes.
We share things
Yeah.
about what certain products contain, or we're just trying to make people aware of some things that they might not be aware of so that their burden is lower.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean don't ever do this, live in a bubble. We're not saying that. We're saying, hey, you might not be aware that plastic cups are probably, causing an issue with your hormones. So that's something that you can really just stay away from. So side note, stay away from that because it's easy. Or, hey, you can get amazing makeup that's not full of chemicals or whatever. But when it comes to, bleaching your hair, there really isn't. I actually do have a bleach alternative that I have used. And I forget what it's called. It's not me. I'm not doing my hairdresser. And there's no ammonia like in the dye and all that. We do it as safe as possible.
Oh yeah.
But it's still not perfect. But the point is not to be perfect. The point is to just go, hey, you know what? I might have to use hair dye. So I'm going to cut out the plastic and I'm going to cut out the perfume or whatever fragrance or things that could be a real problem if they all add up. So we're just trying to help you subtract basically, but not be at zero because that's kind of impossible.
It is impossible. You can't be perfect. And if you're constantly striving for perfection, I mean, listen, there's some people who are really sensitive and they just can't do certain things. And if that's you, don't do it. If it makes you sick, don't do it.
Yeah.
But the striving for perfectionism, I feel, is making people sick too. There's an extreme to everything, right? Don't you feel?
Yeah. And there's such judgment on both sides of the spectrum. And I think there's a big misunderstanding in our world is, people tend to think we're saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And it's really not. It's more like, hey, you may not know this, this could be doing this, and there is an alternative. So if there's an alternative, we always want to give you the alternative, but there isn't, then you have to make your own judgment call on that.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny too, because Krystal and I were talking about this before we went on air today. I get so many questions about Botox and I really don't do Botox. And I think it's, if you can see me, I'm literally moving my eyebrows in ways that I would never be able to do if I had Botox. And I have done Botox in the past, just to be clear and to be transparent.
And you didn't like it.
I didn't like it. Yeah. I didn't like not being able to express myself because I'm extremely expressive with my eyebrows and they're always moving all over the place. And it made me have like a dropped lid a little bit on one side. It just wasn't for me. So it's not my thing personally, but I don't care what you do to yourself. I don't care.
Yeah.
My job is just to tell you, hey, if you can avoid this, try, but anyway, so I get a lot of that on whenever I post my question box. It's like, is Botox safe for this? Is our filler safe for this? And I'm like, that's not my industry. Like,
it's true.
I don't have a beauty page. I don't talk about that stuff. This is not what I'm here for. So I don't really research that a lot because number one, I don't do it. And number two, I don't feel that I'm qualified to come on and start talking about Botox, whether you should be doing it or not. I am not a cosmetic surgeon,
Yeah.
I think that, so, what I can tell you is that some people react really poorly to those things and some people don't.
Exactly.
And that is a decision.
That is transparency right there because it's the truth.
It is the truth. And, a lot of people in our space do Botox and then people get upset that they do it. And it's like, that's the whole point. We're not saying you can't ever do anything. We're just trying to inform you about some things that could help you lower your bucket of inflammation if you just remove them, and you have to make your own decisions. So what I do is laser, microneedling, I just started working with someone doing facials. So microdermabrasion, peels, all that stuff. I will do those till the cows come home.
Same. I'm telling, if anybody is listening, the Morpheus, that has been a game changer. So what I have done is the Lumecca IPL for age spots, for, you know, the dark spots, different, different texture. It can really help with that.
Yeah, like acne scars and stuff.
Oh,
right?
it's so good. But the micro needling, like the Morpheus, the micro needling with the laser, I am telling you, it helps, because I've never had Botox, I've never done filler or anything like that. But it just lessens the forehead lines, the 11s, the mouth lines. It gives a lift. It plumps the skin. Acne scarring, with my past acne from all the PCOS type stuff when I was in, big flares after I had DEC. I'm telling you, that's like, I feel like if you do a couple treatments a year with that takes 10 years off.
Yeah, it's really good. And I haven't done the radio frequency microneedling. I've done regular microneedling. And boy, did I purge. Remember that? I felt like I was a teenager, and I never even went through that as a teenager. I was like, oh, it's happening now in adulthood. It was a lot, but it was cool because it brought like all these impurities up, and then my skin was a lot better. So so I've done the big Mac Daddy CO2.
Oh, you did. I will never forget that. She looked like Freddy Krueger after.
I did.
It was beautiful after.
Yeah. And it was crazy. I mean, I literally watched just brown spot because I live in Florida. I mean, and I used to lay out with baby oil on my body and no sunscreen on my face. I had a lot of sun spots. It took them off, literally took them off.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then I've done IPL, I've done BBL, which is just the same as IPL. It's just a different brand or something. I don't know, but which is like for red and brown. And I'm actually super red. And it's funny to me that people always think I have great skin, because I'm like, God, I hate my skin because I feel so red, but I understand, like overall, I guess it's pretty good. But anyway, so, and then I've done a peel like a long time ago, and I just did a peel again and I loved it. So I'm doing I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to go a little bit deeper with the peel.
Ooh, I want to do a peel. See, I'm all up all the micro needling and the lasers. They're awesome. Even we had Tony Yoon, right? And this was way back in the day. He suggested over anything the micro needling with laser.
And the Morpheus, right?
The Morpheus. He goes, the biggest bang for your buck, doing that is best, along with some of the, the retinol and the vitamin C he suggested.
And I use Skin Better. I like them. They're really clean. They're clean. I do their just whatever wash. It's like a really gentle. And then they have this really cool toning serum. I do that mixed with their moisturizer. And then every other day I switch between their like salicylic acid pads. And they're very light, like it's a very light retinol-ish type of situation. I'm actually not very good at keeping up with that, but I did use it last night. So you're supposed to do one of those every other night. So I like them. Skin Better. They're super, super clean.
Yeah. With kind of like the mixture of both worlds, a little bang for your buck, you know?
They're more like, I think you have to be a doctor or practitioner to order it. Yeah. So you can't just like go order them, which means they're stronger. But they don't have parabens and phthalates.
Yeah. Like the heavy hitters that you want to stay away from. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
That means you're endocrine disruptors.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, you got to be careful of those. If you're doing that every day and putting it on your skin, you got to be careful of that.
Well, hydroquinone, I think it's called, is, I think that was a lightning. What was that used for? I never used it in my products, but it was something in either a peel or a lightning product, and it was really bothering people really bad. And after I had that CO2 laser, it left me looking like I had a checkerboard on the side of my face for a little while. And the doctor gave me it was like a cream that had that in it. I used it once and I had such a bad reaction. My heart was racing. I felt terrible. And I was like, I see why they're not putting this in products anymore because
Yeah.
this is no joke.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
well, anyway,
This
we
is
wanted
fun.
to kind of hit some just random stuff with you guys. And, these are just questions we get all the time. So if you guys want to know, topics with functional medicine for us to talk to, we love to do that. But if you also want to know stuff like this, or like, I get questions, tell us what you eat in a day. I mean, anything,
Yes.
we love to talk about it. So thank you guys so much for listening. If again, you're interested in checking out our course, it's healthbabes.com/courses, and you use the code healthbabes50 when you check out. Thanks for listening.
We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, if you can pop over and leave a review, that would be awesome. You can also find us over at healthbabes.com, where you can find our courses, our latest book. We also are on Instagram at The Health Babes, at Dr. Becky Campbell, or at Dr. Krystal Hohn. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. And if you love this episode, please leave a review. It only takes a couple minutes. And you can find out more about us on DrBeckyCampbell.com. And you can follow us over at Instagram on @HealthBabesPodcast, at Dr. Becky Campbell, and at Dr. Krystal Hohn. Have an amazing day.